What's up, everybody? Thralls here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick.
I'm Jammin John.
And we have yet another album review for you, and one that we didn't want to miss out on just as much as we didn't want to miss out on all the Thanksgiving feasting that we've done. So we're kind of winding down in terms of like the number of releases we're going to go over for this year because we're getting close to year end last time. But we wanted to go over some truly exceptionally dark, heavy stuff because, well, I mean, at least to me, I hate the holidays. This is truly dark, heavy everything right now. The traffic's heavy, the shopping's heavy.
The weather's stupid.
Anyway, we wanted something that perfectly encapsulated just how fucking bleak I think everything is and will be here soon. And lo and behold, the band Phobocosm came out with a new album, and that album is Gateway. This also comes out on the 28th of November on Dark Descent Records. This band formed in 2008 in Canada. This is their fourth album overall. We got into them together on their last album, Foreordained. It ended up being kind of a late review for us then, too.
Yeah, but it was on my year-end list for me. It was a damn good album.
I enjoyed the hell out of it as well. I ended up getting their debut album, Deprived, and their follow-up, Bringer of Drought, not too long after that. And for those that don't know, this is just some dark, menacing, dissonant, ultra-heavy death metal. This thing is just about as dense as a collapsed star and just fucking crushes you.
So, if you remember anything from the last time we reviewed these guys, we gave them a heavy comparison to Immolation. Not a damn thing has changed in that aspect, still very much Immolation. Right off the bat, with the opening track, Deathless, instant low tremolo and gigantic droning dissonant atmosphere, and that actually describes about 85% of this album.
Yeah, the mix in here, first off, is just impenetrable. There is a wall of guitars that greet you at a certain point of this album, and it really never kind of like pulls back on that. It is insanely heavy. The opening track comes in with like these elastic tremolos, like they're kind of like, you know, lurching and bending a little bit. There's like this static hiss behind all of it. And I thought it was just the second guitar, you know, just kind of playing like an atmospheric thing. No, the second guitar comes in later to harmonize with those elastic tremolos. Like, oh, that's just sizzle. That is just them cooking fucking air behind them. But you get a long buildup, and it is just dark and just dreary. This album, in comparison to Foreordained, I will say is way more on the atmospheric side. It's darker. I would say it's harsher sounding. Like there's just a scathing sort of vibe to it, especially when you get down to songs like Unbound, which is just this droning wall of just intense guitars. Like it's just heavy strumming, but the way they are layered, the tone of the guitars, it is just heavy. It like fucking lays on you. Kind of like how like Trump lays on Melanoma or whatever her name is. Well, probably used to. I don't think she's really in that, you know, position anymore. But it's just suffocating and dark and inescapable. Like this album, I would compare to their second album, Bringer of Drought, which this band, at least as far as I've listened to with their albums, I feel like there's this interesting pattern here because the first one and Foreordained are very like riff centric, and then Bringer of Drought and this one feel more focused on the atmosphere, making it sound just as heavy and as just bleak as possible.
It definitely lacks more in like the riffy department.
Yeah, this one, I will say, like, there's less in the way of riff changes. In terms of, like, riff creativity, a lot of it comes down to the lurching and the bending. Like, how they do it, where they place it. Almost all these songs will have, like, a point where there's, like, a bend in a riff. And sometimes they'll harmonize it. Sometimes they'll have, like, some little clever dissonant accent behind it, and it does add like a little bit of character to the riffs, but it doesn't make them stand out as much because I feel like they're doing kind of the same thing. Now this one has something interesting on it that isn't on the other albums, and that are instrumental tracks. The corridor tracks, The Affliction, The Descent, and The Void. And honestly, these are some of my favorite tracks. Now, when I saw them initially, I was like, oh great, here we go, interlude tracks. Get ready for me to start bitching. But no, I won't bitch about these tracks at all because each one, while they're relatively short, or at least short in comparison to the other tracks, do offer up like probably some of the best riffs on the album. Like just like really creative, like well-written riffs with interesting hooks, like, you know, crawling harmonies and such. like good chuggy, just like Morbid Angel sections.
Hate Eternal, big harmonized sections. I would agree in saying that a majority, if not most of the most pronounced riffs on the record are in the corridors. In fact, my favorite one is Corridor 2, The Descent. That riff in there is just particularly evil, and I was mighty fond of it.
Really good long build up on that one, and again, like some solid tremolos. But like when it comes down to like anything else in this album that really like stood out, like for me, it was the atmosphere. That was the main thing that stood out. It's just such a gripping, just gnarly fucking sound overall that it really does pull you in. But outside of that, like I was kind of struggling to find like good memorable riffs in here. Like I remember this for the experience for damn sure, but it's hard to make out like the defining features of this for a couple of reasons. One of them is, my God, this thing is just dense and loud. The guitars are super out front. The vocals, while not buried, kind of sit in what would be like a solid position, like that middle position, but with the guitars being as heavy as they are, they sound like they're pushed way back.
Push them to the back, yeah.
And with that just ultra heavy, overdriven sound on the guitars, like even if there were any like clever nuances or like interesting melodies on there that they threw in there, they're really hard to make out.
They definitely exist. You just have to really, really listen for them. Like I don't know. I would call this like a record maybe not for novices because you have to be able to really tune in on things to catch it all. Like in Sempiternal Penance, there's a really cool part where the dissonance does finally let up for a second, and it lets machine gun riffs come in. But it's not too long into that riff pattern that the dissonance kicks back up and it gets buried. And like, you know it's still there because you've already trained your ear on it. But I could see if you're not paying attention, you would totally lose that.
Yeah. That one also has like a really solid like low end tremolo groove, like very Morbid Angel-esque. But like when you get down to a song like Unbound is like really just hard to make out anything. Like it's essentially two riffs, and it might be busier than that, but the whole first half of it is this just hyper aggressive blast and this just like very atonal strumming. Like it is just dark. It's suffocating. Like you really do fucking feel it. But if you're searching for more than that, it's really just kind of hard to make out. It does shift over into like a cool second part with like that lurching riff kind of accent. But outside of that, like I can't really make out like another like clever riff accent in there either. But there are some other positives. I do like some of the more Death Doom sections on here. Beyond the Threshold of Flesh has some really excellent ones, though I do think that song is like a little bit drawn out. But where it does work in terms of like those slower, more like meditative, like hypnotic parts, I like that vibe. It feels very occultish and dark. And in terms of like the flow of the entire album, I kind of hearken it to like, a horror movie. Like it really does have a lot of those tropes. And the corridor tracks kind of work as like good, creepy, establishing shots, like, oh, there's the haunted house, there's the cemetery. And then, like some spooky exposition, people talking like, oh no, the butler was dead the entire time. Probably something much better than that. But for as like apocalyptic and just insanely heavy as this was, it didn't grab me the way the last one did. I feel like this kind of relies way too much on the atmosphere to kind of like, do the job for you and kind of make it sound a little bit more dark and a little bit more intense. But I kind of like a good blend where like the atmosphere kind of comes second and like riffs and clever writing comes first. And I know this band is very, very capable of that because they've definitely done it before.
Yes.
And I'm not saying this is bad because I want to give it 3.5 stars, but it is missing some qualities that I really like that I initially fell in love with. And, this is going to be one of those bands where, the first thing you hear is kind of the thing you base it on. Like if someone listened to Bringer of Drought first, this is probably absolutely amazing and exactly what they want. But I heard, Foreordained first, and I wanted all the riffs and atmosphere and that kind of hefty blend. But this is still punishing. It's still dark. The Death Doom sections on here, the just nasty Immolation and Morbid Angel vibes. Like, I mean, it's dark, creepy death metal. I love that shit. But it kind of needs a bit of a tweaking. Like, not only just like the songwriting kind of got a little monotonous at points, but, I think the guitars might be just like a little too loud at some points. Or just trim back some of the distortion a bit because I just want to hear some like clever riffs. But all in all, if you're a fan of Immolation, Incantation, Cruciamentum, Morbid Angel, a lot of the usual suspects, check this out. Pretty damn good.
I'm also to 3.5. It's not a bad listen. It is very dissonant. And while I normally like that, I also like to hear riffs, which I know that this band is more than capable of, because they write some heavy, disgusting shit. And it's in there, you just can't hear it because the dissonance is too loud. Like, I also like dissonance as a seasoning, too, or as a tag on a riff, or as, something off in the distance that helps make it creepy, not this giant wall of sound that other things can't get past. It's like an impenetrable wall, and that's just it. The first couple songs, especially Deathless and Unbound, like, there's no picking that apart. It's just dissonance. There are a couple minutes where it's bendy and it's cool, but there's not enough to really actually differentiate the two songs from each other either. It could have just been one song. Nonetheless, if you've liked this band in the past, you're still going to like them. It is pummeling. It is punishing. It is an absolute beatdown of an album. If you're into bands like, Immolation, Fossilization, Primitive Man, Hate Eternal, Immolation, Morbid Angel, stuff like that, definitely give this a whirl.
So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We also have memberships. They are only 99 cents. Our lone perk is doing a members-only live stream, which we'll probably be doing on Wednesday. I will let you guys know time. I believe that'll probably work out, at least for us. Mm-hmm. Either way, membership's the main way to support the channel. And if you'd like to join up, there is a join button down below for you to join with. I don't have anything creative to say there. Do it, otherwise goblins and demons will come out and tear your nose off and shove it in your butt.
Really good job. You did a great job there. I'm really impressed.
It could happen.
And if you choose not to join, that's okay too. We're not going to be upset. I'm not going to cry. Are you going to cry? Tons of non-member only stuff that we do, non-member only live streams that are just as dumb as the member only live streams, discography rankings, album reviews, collection updates, never-ending discussion forums. We do all metal all the time. That's all we do. We do it for you guys because, goddammit, we're appreciative of you being here. Thank you for being a part of this channel. Thank you to everyone that subscribed. Welcome to our new subscribers. Appreciate you.
Yeah, tons of content coming your way. So one more big thank you because you guys are awesome, and we will catch you later.